Welcome to Yeet or Neat, our new segment for Monday. What we're going to do is I'll explain Yeet or Neat and how it works. So what I've asked everyone to do is select two sort of geek culture items, whether that be films, music, television shows, books, or video games, or anything like that, as recommendations for the other three presenters. So basically we're all going to pick two things, talk about them, and recommend them to the other three. And then we've got a week to check those things out and then come back with our opinions on whether or not they are good, which is a neat, or bad, which is a yeet. So yeah, nice. Well timed, Ash, thank you.
Like a really nerdy book club.
Yeah! So we are all prepped, everybody has two things.
Yeah, we have. We've got some interesting stuff to talk about.
Yeah, especially for you, John.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I've had a sneak preview, and I don't think I'm going to recognise any of the stuff that you guys are going to put forward. But that's fine. That's okay.
It's totally fine.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Who's going to go first?
So, yeah, I'll go first. So I have two things for you guys. My first one is one of my favourite books of all time. By my favourite author of all time, and that is Neverwhere from Neil Gaiman. Have any of you ever read any Neil Gaiman books before?
The only one I've read is the Neil Gaiman, Terry Pratchett, Good Omens.
Good Omens one, yeah.
Yeah, I've read Good Omens as well, and I have to read Stardust for my uni.
Okay. Of course, made into a feature-length movie with Michelle Pfeiffer and Daredevil. I can't remember the actor's name, the guy that played Daredevil. That's the one, Charlie Cox, thank you.
I don't know.
No, I didn't know it was Charlie Cox until going back to it later on, because I'd watched Daredevil and then Michelle went, I know that guy. And then she was like, oh, it's the guy in Stardust. I was like, oh wow, it's so weird. He looks so young in that movie. But yeah, Neverwhere is my favourite Neil Gaiman book. I discovered it 15 years ago, something like that. Basically the premise is it's all about a fella called Richard. He's from Scotland, but he moves down to London, and it jumps forward a few years, and he's sort of starting to get settled down with his girlfriend, and they're talking about maybe getting married, and he's going to go meet this big boss guy to get a big promotion at his job. But on the way to the dinner party where they're going to meet, he stumbles upon a girl called Dor, and Dor is from basically an under London, so London below it's known as, which is like this fantasy world that's basically underneath London, but it mimics all of the subway stations. So like King's Cross actually has a king, Shepherd's Bush is full of shepherds, it's all kind of crazy stuff like that, and Dor's being hunted down by two henchmen who are trying to kill her, and it follows her story because Richard helps her, and then he gets dragged into London below. So that's the whole premise of the book. It's absolutely amazing. I love Neil Gaiman stuff. Has anyone ever seen American Gods as well? Like there's the book and then the TV series.
Yeah, I've read that actually.
There you go.
That's something I've also read. I forgot that he did that.
Neil Gaiman's one of my favourite authors. His writing's just amazing. American Gods is a fantastic book. I haven't read the next one. Norse Mythology, I think, is the newest one he did. I haven't read that yet, but he also did Sandman, of course, and you mentioned Good Omens, which is now the TV series with David Tennant and
Michael Sheen.
That's the one, Michael Sheen. Thank you. God, names. I should have written all this down like Nadia. I should have noted it all down, and I didn't. I'm just going off the top of my head. So yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a copy of that, and you have to read it. It's so good. It's one of my favorite books of all time. And I hope you'll like it. They also did an audio sort of reading of it for BBC, and the cast is actually on screen. I've got it on my stream just now. So they had Benedict Cumberbatch in it, Anthony Head from Buffy, he was in it, Natalie Dormer, and God, the name, Scottish, what?
James McAvoy?
Yes, James McAvoy, thank you. Couldn't remember James McAvoy. I'm really bad with names tonight. So yeah, they all did the audio book version of it for the BBC. It's absolutely amazing. That guy for Drumchapel, Michelle says, yeah. Natalie Dormer, my wife, says Tony, yes.
Well, he said that he spelled it wrong for a start, so it's clearly not.
But yeah, you should totally check that audiobook out as well if you get a chance. But yeah, that's an amazing cast for an amazing book. My second thing for you guys is a movie from Korea. One of my favorite movies as well. It's called I'm a Cyborg, But That's Okay. Which is by the writer-director Park Chan-wook, who also did the Vengeance trilogy, of course. His most famous movie is probably Old Boy. If you've ever seen Old Boy is an insane film with one of the biggest twists in the world. We showed it at R-CADE as one of our movie nights and completely destroyed half of our audience because the twist came and they were actually crying. It was amazing. It was the best movie night ever. So yeah, Park Chan-wook made this after he finished the Vengeance trilogy, and it's just this nice romantic comedy set in a mental asylum. Basically, there's a girl who likes to lick batteries because she thinks she's a cyborg and she thinks she can.
I like to lick batteries.
See? You'll totally you'll relate to this then, John.
Yeah. One.
Just a wee Duracell. And it also stars.
It's a thing.
Also stars Rain, I think his name is the actor.
Yeah.
He later went on to do what was that?
Yes, I'm dancing now.
It was the crazy, not samurai movie. Was it samurai?
Ninja Assassin.
Ninja Assassin. That was the one.
On DVD.
Yeah. He went on to do that after he did this. And it's just nice, but it's quirky. I love quirky movies. Like Amelie is my favorite movie of all time, which is the one I wanted to recommend to you guys. But I'm a Cyborg is fantastic as well. You should totally. I've sent it to you guys to check out as well. So those are my two things. Tony's like Amelie in my chat. And Brian also says if you've not seen Old Boy, you must watch it. Have you seen Old Boy?
It's one that I've always meant to watch, and I just never got around to it.
Have you ever seen Old Boy, John?
I have, but I can't remember it very well.
Anyway, those are my two suggestions. So I've sent those over to the guys to check out, and we can come back next week to see what they think.
Is it compulsory to check out all 6 of the other people's things?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
I mean, John, you might get 5 minutes into something and you're not going to like it anyway. So it's just, at least give it a chance.
I'll give both of those a chance. I don't know if I can read a whole book, I'll be honest, but...
No, that's fair, that's fair. Maybe the first couple of chapters.
Yeah, because anyone's got TV series and things as well, that'll be like the first episode.
Yeah.
Probably will be the one.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to sportscast for this so people can actually hear me.
Good call.
Nice.
So I don't know what order you've got them in, but my first one...
Game first was the first one.
Game first.
Yeah.
So my first one is the one that I nag everyone to play all the time, which is Final Fantasy XIV. It is an MMORPG. It is the best game ever. It's very... Because of what it is, it's very different to other Final Fantasy games. So rather than being turn-based combat, it's real-time. You have I think it's like 16 different classes you can play, and they're split up by tank, DPS and healer, and then DPS is further split up with melee, physical ranged DPS and caster. The story is really good. The free trial that I think you guys will probably be doing, you can get to level 35 on all jobs on one character. Okay. So rather than have to start a new character to start a new job, you can just keep playing. You can do everything on one character. I really hope you like it, because A Realm Reborn is great, but Heavensward is better.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of my first one. You play as the Warrior of Light, and I can't really tell you too much more without just spoiling everything.
When did it come out? It's been around a while.
So the original Final Fantasy XIV came out in, I think, 2011, and that was 1.0, and it was pure garbage. So the game lead, Yoshi P, he essentially wrote that game off, wrote a big ending into it, and within a year made A Realm Reborn. So A Realm Reborn came out in 2013-2014 time. It was a complete overhaul, but still features characters from the original game in the story. It's set 5 years after, I can tell you this without spoiling too much, because it's like the first cutscene that plays. So A Realm Reborn is set 5 years after the fall of Dalamud, which was essentially it was a moon, but not a moon, and it housed Bahamut.
Yep.
And when it fell, Louis Soir had to call on the power of the gods to stop Bahamut, and it caused a calamity. And then 5 years later, you're the Warrior of Light, and you join the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, and you basically save the world.
Nice.
I'm already kind of sold on the fact that you can be a bunny girl.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a bunny girl at the moment. Yeah.
So already sold on it based on that.
Spoilers, I did install it last night and started a game this morning.
I've cheated a bit on some of these as well.
I forgot that I could be a cat, and I was like, "Oh, I'm a cat dude."
Are you a Makote or
I'm a
Hrothgar, though?
Makote. Yeah.
I've promised Ash that I will play this game for about, 2 years now?
Since I started at the cafe.
Yeah. And every opportunity, Ash will nag me that I definitely need to give it a chance. And I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. So there's no reason why I wouldn't. The only thing that stops me is time.
Yeah.
But it's just a case of I need to prioritise it, because I know I'd like it as well. I know I'd like it. And, I've watched Ash's streams when she streamed on the channel and stuff. And I know it's the kind of thing that I'd like to get into. So I will make the effort. I will make the effort, Ash, on this occasion.
Finally.
And I'll certainly give that a try.
Yeah, because I played the first Final Fantasy online game, and I remember how many hours I put into that one. So time is one of those.
I was 11.
I think it was 11. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you had
10, I was a cat person in that.
10 on PS2, then 11 was online, then 13 was 13. Sorry, 12. I totally missed 12. How did I miss 12? It was also on PS2. Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, I didn't play the original. I didn't play 11 at all. I skipped it. I was like, okay. And then 12 was 12. It was a bit disappointing, but I've
12 is the one no one remembers. Like, everyone remembers 13 for being bad, but no one remembers 12.
Oh, actually, it's not
12
bad.
was just normal. Wasn't that exciting?
I played 13 too, and I did quite enjoy it, but I just remember everyone just being, it's terrible, and I was like, but I get to throw a Moogle. I got to just launch a Moogle in random places, and it never really worked.
I'm going to start 12. I've got the Switch version of it now, the re-release, so I'm dying to try it. I'm just trying to find time to play it, but I think I'm going to use that time to play 14 instead now. So yeah, looking forward to that one. That one should be good. Ash, your second item, please.
So my second item is a Korean TV show called Hwarang. It is a historical romance drama comedy. It's set in, I don't remember what the period is, but it's like with kings and queens and different like provinces in Korea. It stars the wonderfully pretty Park Hung-sik from Strong Woman Bong Soon.
And that's selling it. That's selling it for John there, right there. That's why he's going to watch it.
Sells it for me.
It also stars Lee Soo from SHINee and Kim Tae-kyung, also known as V from BTS. And it basically follows the character whose name is Bird Dog, as he is like the lowest caste in society, but they kind of like wrangle it so that he can join the Hwarang, because you have to be of noble birth to join the Hwarang. And it's very political intrigue, comedy, romance, drama. The character design is on point, like the costumes and stuff. It's all really fabulous, and it's got a really heartfelt story that hits lots of emotional beats as well.
Nice.
So it's like Game of Thrones, but in Korea.
Game of Thrones, but good.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
This one of the things I really enjoy about a lot of K-dramas, and this is what draws me to K-dramas more than some American stuff, is that because they don't really have the shock factor of like sex and all this kind of other stuff, because they're all quite wholesome.
Yeah.
They actually have to have a good storyline.
Yes.
It means you have to focus the writing more.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because you can't rely
And a lot
on
of really wonderful camera angles of a dramatic moment.
Nice. Awesome. Looking forward to that as well. That'll be interesting. I think definitely. Yeah. Okay.
Good. That's what I like to hear.
It's on Netflix as well. Is that right? How many seasons are there? 3?
there should only be one of horror.
Only one at the moment. Okay, sorry. I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, so there's one season. I think it's 20 episodes, and the episodes are an hour long.
Okay.
If you can manage it, I do recommend trying to get to at least episode 5 because that's when the story starts to pick up a lot. A lot of K-dramas can be a bit of a slow burn sometimes, so I do recommend watching more than one episode if you have the time.
Okay, cool.
So, my first pick is the incredible game called Magical Puzzle Popples on Popples on the Game Gear. This is a game fondly remembered from my childhood, and it is a puzzle game. I'll see if I've got a screenshot here somewhere. Actually, bear with. For the people that are watching my stream, at least, it's basically just like a sliding block puzzle game, and it's no more complicated than that. To be honest, you play as the prince. You have to rescue the princess. Some wizard has kidnapped her or something.
Classic.
But basically, you have these grey blocks on the screen, and you can punch and you can break up the grey blocks, and you just have to find your way through to reach the princess in the little puzzle screen. But everything's I don't want to use the term physics-based because it's not. but when you knock the blocks down, they fall down. So it is like a sliding puzzle thing. So if you move something out of the way, they all fall down. And while I'm not going to say that this is, one of the greatest games of all time or anything, it is simply one of my favourite and most fondly remembered games from the original Game Gear. Really easy to actually. There's websites you can go on and you can play it. It's really easy to download emulators and that kind of stuff for it, so you can all give it a go. But I know that you would like it, and it's developed in Japan. If that helps.
It's it's made by Tengen. It's Tengen, isn't it?
Yes, the original was Tengen, I believe it was. I think in this country it was just called Popples. It wasn't called Magical Puzzle Popples. But yeah, that's my pick. I mean, I'd love to say that I've got loads of interesting stuff to tell you about it, but I actually haven't, because it's just one of those fun games that I like, and I think other people should give it a chance. But I picked this because not that many people, have a huge knowledge of Game Gear games.
No, it doesn't get a lot of love.
Even less people will be aware of Popples, and I go on about it all the time to anyone that would listen. So, everyone needs to go and play Popples. Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. I mean, is this anything to do with were you reminded of this game by the micro Game Gears that are getting released, or was it always just something you thought about?
You know what? I think yes, because the micro Game Gear, which I'm going to buy, even though it's stupid and pointless, and no one wants one. It's not good value for money. But I'm also the person that bought the plastic Mega CD and 32X add-on for my Mega Drive Mini, which I imported from Japan for like 80 quid or whatever it was for a stupid piece of plastic. And then they released the UK version like a few weeks later, which was a little bit annoying. But hey-oh. But yeah, I'll buy the stupid Game Gear Minis that are like. The screen is the same size as like a Nokia 3310, isn't it?
It's like this size.
That's what it's going to be like. But that's the thing, though. We've played games from 3310s, or at least me and Andrew probably have.
Yeah.
We know what it's like to play a game on that screen. It's kind of doable, sort of. But yeah, I'll get one just because it'll make a good YouTube video. To be fair, so.
My favorite Game Boy is actually the Micro. I love that Game Boy so much. It's not as small like in terms of the screen, but the screen on the Game Boy Micro is phenomenal. And it's just the loveliest little handheld, so well built, solid aluminium frame. It's gorgeous. I love that thing. And yeah, so I don't think I'm gonna get the micro Game Gear. Sorry, I might pick one up, but I'm definitely. I wanted the whole set with the magnifier.
Really £40 each for 4 games.
Yeah, for 4 games. That's easy. If it was Nintendo, nobody would be complaining about paying £10 for the game they've already got 7 copies of,
Yeah, if they did a Game Boy thing in the same way. But while I think about it, the thing you want the analog pocket. That's the one. But that's kind of gone silent, obviously. I think, obviously, production's probably halted a little bit at the moment on that. But does that do Game Gear games, the analog pocket?
I don't know. They may have patched it
might.
later on to add the emulation in, so maybe, yeah.
Well, they're all like you can modify them all anyway, can't
That's
they?
true.
But,
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, Game Gears don't get enough love, and in particular, this game that no one has heard of also needs some love. And the good news is, literally only take you out 5 minutes to try it out.
I can't wait. John, what's your second item then, sir?
My second one is something a little bit more modern, and it is the new WWE documentary about The Undertaker. It's called The Undertaker, The Last Ride. And this chronicles the last 3 years, or no, I'll rephrase, the previous 3 years of The Undertaker's career.
Okay.
So anyone, even if you don't know wrestling, you know who The Undertaker is.
Mhm.
He is one of the... he's one of a veteran of the industry. He's been around since I think it was 1990. I think was his debut Survivor Series at some point. And obviously he's had an incredible career, but he's now 56, I think now 55 or 56,
something like that. Yeah.
And it's basically like he's never done like really like interviews outside of the company. He's one of those old school wrestlers that's maintained his persona and he's kept himself sort of out of the limelight, when he's not performing. So people don't really know that much about him compared to like a contemporary wrestler where, kayfabe, it's less of a big deal. Whereas, for him, it's something that he's maintained in the traditional way, so to speak. And so the plan originally for him was that he was due to retire in, was it 2017, Ash, I want to say? Roman Reigns?
Whenever Roman Reigns did, had the highest...
18, 19, 20. It might have been 2018, but he was supposed to retire in 2018 because he's just getting too old, he's got a bad hip, and he just can't, jump around like he used to.
Yeah.
But it's all about his personal struggle about how he doesn't want to give up doing what he loves because he's done it. It's his whole life.
It's everything
he doesn't
he knows.
know anything else.
Yeah.
And his family's all supportive, but now his family wants him to stop because for his own health and stuff like that. And all the wrestlers are saying it's time to give it up now.
Did he not sign a new contract though?
That's the thing, and that's the whole thing of what this is about. It's about
spoilers.
It's that he can't control himself and he can't stop, and so he's looking for that final match because he wasn't happy with his supposed final match in 2018, I think it was, and so he tried to do another one a few months later, and he wasn't happy with that. So a few months later, he does another one, and it seems to be that the timing of this documentary is obviously going to lead up to what will definitely be his final match, which would have probably been this summer, but they're probably now going to obviously
With the break
probably,
and everything,
probably make it because it would be exactly 30 years this November since his debut. So they reckon it's probably leading up to that. But there's 5 episodes. 3 episodes are on WWE Network now, and then the second 2, the next one's next Sunday, I think. But even if you don't like wrestling, it's just
it's interesting.
an amazing insight into the industry as well, because generally they're very protective around the inner workings of how wrestling works, and
it's quite veiled. Yeah, it's
WWE have seemed to have opened up quite a lot in terms of the old kayfabe stuff now, and while they maintain kayfabe in the ring, they generally allow the wrestlers to express themselves a lot more outside of the ring, and so it's quite exciting to see that from a wrestler such as The Undertaker. If you've seen the film The Wrestler with
Mickey Rourke.
I don't know, but it's very much like a real life version of that. It's like he's the old guy, he's knocking on, he's still popular, and he can still go every now and again, but he just can't go as well as he used to, and it's really sad in a lot of ways. So that's my second pick. Nice.
I've got Tony in my chat saying his match versus Goldberg last year is car crash TV. That's what he's described it as.
That's basically what it's all about. Is that he's looking for that final match. He wants that perfect send off, like say how Ric Flair got with like the perfect final match. Mickey Rourke, that's who it was. Yes. and he just can't find it. But he's running out of time now because he just physically can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's whether he's like, I want to have a perfect match, like, but are you in the type of shape that perfect match is even going to happen?
Exactly. I mean, he had he's had a good couple of matches, but he's had a couple of really bad ones, like where himself and Goldberg had this absolute nightmare match last year where they literally basically broke each other's necks because neither of them could go. But yeah, that's actually on the next episode next weekend.
Nice.
So there we go. That's my second pick.
Yay!
Basic intro to what leverage is rich people are awful and they will do terrible things to stay rich or get more rich. Enter 4 criminals and 1 ex-insurance investigator, so technically a criminal. All have their own unique skills. You've got a grifter, a hitter, a hacker, a thief, and the mastermind, who's the ex-insurance investigator. And they basically help all the victims of these huge corporations or just businesses and things like that just want to manipulate and hide their trade secrets and things like that have caused damage to people and hurt people and stolen people's money. And they basically get revenge on behalf of the victims by tricking the bad guys essentially into giving the money back or giving the, like, at one point they steal a potato.
What?
And it's
Sorry, what?
yeah,
What?
it's a special potato, but it's an episode where they steal a potato.
Okay.
And I only recently, because I found it was on Amazon Prime. It's a show that I've always wanted to watch because a lot of people have totally recommended it to me. They're just like, it's amazing, it's good fun, because it's not just like, it can be really funny, but then there's moments where it's like really heartfelt or like really, really serious, and you're on the edge of your seat just going, oh my god, how's this going to work? Is this going to happen? Because a lot of the themes of the episode seem to be, here's the plan, here's how we're going to do it. Okay. Oh no, something's gone wrong. How do we fix this again? And how do we outsmart this person? And it's all really, really cool how they go through it all and use everyone's different talents. I finished it actually a few weeks ago. And I've basically just been recommending it to everyone now.
Nice.
There's 5 seasons. It's on Amazon Prime.
I don't think I'll do that in a week, unfortunately. But...
So it's, don't worry about it. Like, if you like it, go for it. And it's actually probably a good time to reintroduce people to it because they are planning a reboot of the show, which has got some of the old cast coming back, which I'm now super, super excited for. Obviously, I think it might be slightly delayed now, but it is one that I totally recommend just for sheer funniness and loveliness.
Nice. Thank you.
And that's leverage.
I noticed one of the cast members I know from a TV show called Coupling, which was a British sitcom back in the day. I think it was early 2000s.
Yes, she plays the grifter.
Yeah, the lassie with the dark. I can't remember the actress's name.
I can only remember her character name right now because it's Sophie Devereaux. But so she's a. Oh, and that's like one of the things I really like. The characters in this show are like really lovable. Like, there's one character that's clearly coded as being autistic because of the way she reacts to a lot of stuff, and like just the way that that's kind of portrayed is sort of really nice. And just how they all kind of become found family. Like, I've got a soft spot for found family in all these shows, and that's just one of the things that made me really enjoy it.
Nice, cool.
Awesome.
That sounds good. What was your second pick, Nadia?
And on to the third Korean thing of this entire review club. I decided to go for K. So we've got Korean movie, we've got K-drama.
Yep.
Now we've got K-pop.
Yay!
So, thought we'd add it all. The K-pop group I am recommending for everyone to check out is a group called Dreamcatcher. It is a girl group with 7 members, and I really like them because they're a little bit different from other K-pop groups, purely because their influence is less poppy and more like rock influence. Still kind of like, it's like heavily rock influenced pop. So like, if K-pop tried to do what baby metal did,
right? Okay.
but just like slightly less heavy.
Right.
The whole concept of their group is each person in the group represents a different type of nightmare and fear. which they're all adorable Korean women, and, like they're all like super beautiful, and they're just like, oh yeah, we're all different types of nightmares and things like that. And that just means they have these kind of like darker, more dramatic visuals and stuff like that, which is why I really, really enjoy their music. They actually collaborated with a mobile game called King's Raid to with one of their songs. So one of their songs is like got this whole like castle theme and betrayal theme and all this kind of other stuff, which is really fitting because a lot of their stuff sounds like anime or video game style music. Like you can imagine being in like a fight scene or like a really dramatic moment. And it's one of the things that you're sitting there and if you've got it playing in the background, you're just like, I'm so pumped up, I'm ready for this. It's going to be so dramatic, it's going to be so serious. And it's one of the reasons I absolutely love this group. So, check out Dreamcatcher.
Nice. Thank you.
You've actually done a good job selling that to me. Normally I'm not into anything like that. And now it's like, I do actually want to listen to this now.
They're good. Some of their stuff, is, it slightly tilts more towards pop than rock, but a lot of their stuff, the music in the background's amazing and they're all got really, really good vocals. And you can just sit and just like rock along to it. It's great.
All right then, cool.
Yeah, I could round up. I'll do a quick roundup for everyone, so we all know what's going on. So my two items were Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman, and I'm a Cyborg, but That's Okay from Park Chan-wook. Ash, your two items were Final Fantasy XIV. Is it Shadowbringers now? Is the latest? Expansion, yeah. Yeah, perfect. And Horang, which is obviously a drama from Netflix. John, your two items were Magical Puzzle Popples. I always put the I and the L the wrong way around. For the Sega Game Gear. And the Undertaker Last Ride documentary series from WWE. And finally, Nadia, your two items were Leverage, TV show on Amazon Prime at the moment, and Dreamcatcher. But thanks for joining me, guys. We'll see you next week for more Yeet or Neat. Yeah, thanks very much for watching, everybody in the chat as well.
And feel free to watch or check out all of the things we've mentioned in this video.
Totally, and we'll discuss them next week and see what you think. So see you later.
Stuff. We'll see you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.